In February 1957, in the quiet outskirts of Philadelphia, a grisly discovery shocked her community and set off one of the longest and most heartbreaking mysteries in American history. A small cardboard box. Inside, the battered body of a young boy. No name, no family, no explanation. The newspapers would call him the boy in the box. For decades, he was also known by another heartbreaking title, America's Unknown Child. This was more than a murder case. It was a tragedy that haunted generations of detectives, reporters, and ordinary citizens. Who was this boy? Who killed him? And why has this mystery proven so impossible to solve? Even with modern technology, this is the story of the boy in the box, a case that combines mystery, crime, and an enduring plea for justice. It was February 25, 1957. A cold, grey winter's day in Fox Chase, a rural section of northeast Philadelphia. A young man, out checking his muskrat traps, stumbled across something unusual along Susquehanna Road. A large cardboard box, the type that once held a baby bassinet. Inside was the body of a little boy, naked, bruised, wrapped in a thin blanket. The boy appeared to be between 3 and 7 years old, malnourished, with evidence of recent hair-cutting. Clumps of his own hair were still stuck to his body. His eyes had been opened in death, giving the impression of a child staring silently into eternity. Shocked and terrified, the man didn't immediately go to the police, perhaps out of fear, or because he was somewhere he shouldn't have been. He hesitated. It wasn't until another person came across the same box days later that the authorities were alerted. Soon, Philadelphia police officers and crime scene investigators descended on the site. What they found was horrifying and baffling. The boy was small, frail, and clearly malnourished. He bore bruises across his body, evidence of sustained abuse. An autopsy revealed that he had died from blunt force trauma to the head. His stomach was empty. His body showed signs of neglect, even long before his death. The box he was found in had once contained a bassinet sold by J.C. Penney. Investigators traced it back to a local store, but because so many had been sold, the lead went nowhere. The blanket was also traced. It was cheap and common, sold by thousands of vendors across the country. The boy's fingerprints and footprints were taken. His photograph was published widely in newspapers. Flyers were distributed. Over 400,000 posters with his image were mailed out to police stations, post offices, and courthouses across America. The community buried him with the simple name Unknown Child. Despite the efforts, no one stepped forward. No one claimed him. How could a child vanish so completely? The press quickly seized on the story. Front pages called him the boy in the box. Others dubbed him America's Unknown Child. Philadelphia police even made the unusual move of displaying post-mortem photographs of the boy in them, hoped someone might recognize him. Detectives dressed his body in clothes, propped him in a seated position, and took pictures chilling by today's standards, but intended to spark recognition in 1957. But still, no family came forward. The public was horrified. Who could abuse and kill a child, then discard him in such a way? Letters poured into police stations with tips, theories, and false leads. People thought they recognized him from missing persons cases, but every comparison ended in disappointment. The boy had no name, and without a name, solving the crime seemed impossible. Over the decades, detectives pursued countless leads, runaway theories. Perhaps the boy was a runaway from New York or New Jersey, abused at home and killed after escaping. Orphanage connection. Some investigators suspected a foster home not far from the scene. Children there had been treated harshly, but no direct evidence linked the boy to the property. The stepdaughter's story. In the early 2000s, a woman known as M came forward claiming her mother had purchased the boy and abused him until his death. Her account seemed detailed, even aligning with some evidence, but investigators could never corroborate her story. Time and again, the case hit dead ends, and year after year, the boy's grave remained marked only by his tragic title, America's Unknown Child. By the late 20th century, forensic technology gave investigators new hope. In 1998, the boy's body was exhumed so DNA could be extracted. A mitochondrial DNA profile was created, though comparisons at the time yielded no results. In 2019, as genetic genealogy solved high-profile cold cases like the Golden State Killer, detectives turned again to the boy in the box. The boy's DNA was uploaded to genealogical databases. Slowly, painstakingly, a family tree began to emerge. Finally, after more than 6 decades, the boy had a name. On December 8, 2022, Philadelphia police made the historic announcement. The boy in the box was Joseph Augustus Zarelli. He had been born in January 1953, making him just 4 years old at the time of his death. His mother was identified as a local woman, already deceased. His father was also identified, though still living at the time of the announcement. Authorities did not initially name the parents publicly, out of respect for surviving family. But the revelation changed everything. The boy in the box was no longer just a symbol of tragedy. He was a child with a name, a family, and a history. Joseph Augustus Zarelli. While his identity was solved, the mystery of his murder remains. Who killed Joseph? Was it a parent? A caretaker? Someone else entirely? Detectives have their theories, but without a confession or stronger evidence. The case remains technically unsolved. Some speculate Joseph may have been unwanted, neglected, and ultimately beaten to death by family. Others think he was rehomed or passed around, eventually ending up in the hands of someone who ended his life. The truth, for now, remains locked in silence. For decades, the boy in the box captured the American imagination. He was written about in true crime books, featured in documentaries, and debated endlessly in online forums. More importantly, he became a symbol, a reminder of every unidentified victim who deserves dignity, a name, and justice. His grave, originally marked simply as Unknown Child, has become a place of pilgrimage for those who never forgot. People leave flowers, toys, and prayers. Today, his grave bears his real name, Joseph Augustus Zarelli. The story of the boy in the box is one of tragedy, perseverance, and partial resolution. After 65 years, Joseph finally regained his identity, but justice remains elusive. His killers may already be dead, or perhaps one day, another piece of evidence will surface, and the final chapter of this haunting mystery will be written. Until then, we remember Joseph Augustus Zarelli not just as America's unknown child, but as a boy who mattered, whose life was cut short, but who will never again be forgotten. Because every child deserves a name. Every child deserves justice. If you found this story moving, don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into history's darkest unsolved crimes. And let me leave you with this thought. How many other Joseph's children, without names, without justice, are still out there, waiting to be remembered? Stay safe, stay curious, and as always, thank you for watching.